Good afternoon and welcome to the late edition of the Daily Fix. I am, as usual, Advocate Hoyani at your service. This afternoon, I would like to look at, developments in the sense of Meyiwa trial this morning. The most important thing that happened this morning is Advocate Munisi told the court that he is not ready to proceed with the trial. We now understand that the record runs to something like 42,000 pages, and Munisi was at pains to explain to the judge that he's not ready. And that is understandable. I think the record is a bit bulky, and Munisi will need to read and go through that record. In other words, to put up a proper defense. You see, like Munisi indicated, this is not just like reading a novel. He has to read that evidence, those volumes and volumes of evidence, and do an analysis of the evidence so that he can put up a proper defense for his client Muzisibiya. So that is basically where the situation is. The matter has now been postponed to the 14th of April. But there were one or two interesting things which I want to bring to the attention of my viewers that also transpired in court today. One of the things that I picked up was when Justice Ratha said, abundava, that's how he put it, Some people think I'm making money. I'm not making money out of this, I drive an 8-cylinder car. It's been a long time since I drove a 2-cylinder car and all the rest of it. I thought that was typical Ratha, saying things which he ought not to be saying in a court of law. Nobody has ever alleged that he's making money out of this. How does he bring the issue of whether or not he makes money into the trial? This is again the judge, addressing issues that have got nothing to do with this trial. We know he's a retired judge. He gets paid something for, those sittings in court that you have seen him preside over. But for him to bring the issue up out of nowhere, maybe he's really making money. I suppose the man is making money. Why should he be, worried about this business about him not making money or not making money? How does it arise? He's making money because he has come out of retirement to preside over this case, right? He is there in the first place to make money because those sittings are not for free. So I don't know how Judge Ratha, came up with that. It was a totally irrelevant issue and should never have been raised in court, like the many other things which, just come off the cuff of his neck, and he says them in court, which are totally uncalled for. The most important other thing which he said was, before he came in, he says he had read the record of Chifuwa Maumela. That is terrible coming from a judge also. That should never have been done. You see, once Judge Chifuwa Maumela got out of this trial had to start de novo. It had to start afresh. And with the new judge coming in, with Judge Ratha coming in, he has no business reading that record. He has no business reading that record. He has got to get into this trial with clean hands, without knowing, the nitty-gritty of the evidence. Because let me just point a scenario for you. Judge Ratha says he wrote that record. So when he got into this trial, he already knew a lot of what was happening. In other words, other issues, he was privy to certain issues even before the trial started. How does a judge come into a trial, right? And he already has information about this or that relating to the evidence. That is improper, right? On that basis alone, this matter can be set aside. Judge Ratha is supposed to come into this matter as a new judge because the matter is starting afresh. He is not supposed to refer to that record, right? Because it makes him to prejudge the issue. He prejudges issues, right? Any judge who begins a trial, right, has no idea what the evidence looks like. This is why he must bring an open and impartial mind to the trial. Now Judge Ratha tells us that, no, I read that record. I read that record. And we know a lot of the shenanigans that happened in the Chifua Mahumela trial. So Judge Ratha discloses to us that I came into this trial prepared, and because he read that record, that was an irregularity, a gross irregularity, because he comes up here with, predetermined, inclinations. He's actually telling us that when I took over in this trial, I had already been briefed about it. I'd briefed myself about it. I had already informed myself about it. So how could he bring an open and impartial, mind to the trial such that, he treats everything like, it's coming to his mind for the first time. So there you have it. There you have it. I mean, this case can be, set aside as soon as yesterday, like the youth of today say, right? It can be set aside and reviewed or appealed or whatever. It can be reviewed. The proper thing would be to review it. Because in a review process, you look at, the way the matter was conducted. You don't look at the substance, right? You just look at the procedural aspects, whether the procedural aspects were adhered to. So Judge Ratha has made a huge blunder, right? But we got it from him. Nobody prompts a judge to make any statement. He just voluntarily, out of nowhere, decided to tell us that, oh, well, I came here, armed with a lot of the evidence here. A lot of witnesses, remember, had already testified in the Chifua Mahumela. Ill-fated trial, right? So here we have a judge who came into this trial, right? He was privy to what because at that stage when Chifua Mahumela, collapsed this case, or this case collapsed in his hands, we are only we are still with the prosecution case. So he already knew what Baloi's strategy was. He already knew what some of the prosecution witnesses had said, right? He already knew what the cross-examination was like. How could he bring an impartial mind and, an impartial, how could he take an impartial stance on the whole thing when he has already been informed himself prior to listening to the trial? Probably this is why we have always said, no, he looks so impartial, he's leaning to the prosecution, right? And Judge Chifua Mahumela was leaning to the prosecution. You recall, the many things that happened in that trial. But Judge Chifua Mahumela was no different from Judge Ratha. So if he has read the record, he's aware of some of the things that were happening there. So he just took up the baton from, Judge Chifua Mahumela, and is doing the shocking things that we are seeing. To say the least, this is a shocking disclosure. That is all I want to say for now about this kind of, revelation. Because the implications are just too ghastly to contemplate for the justice system in South Africa if judges come into trials, right, with prior knowledge of records because another judge is no longer part of the proceedings. That is a very sad state of affairs. Judge Ratha, unfortunately, you have told us this, and we are going to analyze it. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video. I'm very happy by the way the subscriptions are coming in and the views as usual. Let me just implore you not to skip those ads. Like I said in the morning edition, these episodes are not coming in with ads. I know ads might be a little bit irritating for some of you here and there because they sort of, disturb the flow of your viewing. But please, I implore you not to skip those ads. Because I said in the morning, those ads keep the home fire burning. Thank you very much for watching and have a nice evening.